Story 1. I'm not a confrontational person by nature. Never have been. I'm the type who apologizes when someone bumps into me. My friends make fun of me for it all the time. But I'm also not stupid, and after what happened to me a few years ago, I started taking precautions. Back in 2022, someone stole my cart at a warehouse store. I had spent over an hour shopping, had about $400 worth of stuff in there, and I turned my back for 30 seconds to grab a case of water from the bottom shelf. When I turned around, my cart was gone. Just vanished. I walked around the store for 20 minutes looking for it, but never found it. Had to start my entire shopping trip over from scratch. After that, I started putting a tracking tag in my cart whenever I shop. I clip it inside my reusable shopping bag that sits in the child seat area. Takes 2 seconds and gives me peace of mind. My wife thought I was being paranoid. I told her I was being prepared. Last month, I was doing my weekly grocery run at a big supermarket near my house. I had been shopping for about 45 minutes and my cart was pretty full. Produce, meat, dairy, pantry stuff, cleaning supplies. Probably $200 worth of groceries, maybe more. I was in the cereal aisle comparing prices on oatmeal when I heard a voice behind me. "Karen, excuse me. I need this cart." I turned around. A woman was standing there with her hands already on my cart handle. "Me sorry, this is my cart. I've been shopping for almost an hour." "Karen, well, I've been looking for a cart for 10 minutes and there aren't any at the front, so I'm taking this one." "Me, you can't just take someone's full cart." "Karen, I need it more than you do. You can get another one." "Me, there's literally $200 of groceries in here that I spent an hour collecting." "Karen, then you should have been watching it more carefully." She started pushing my cart away from me, actually pushing it, with all my stuff in it. I just stood there for a second, completely stunned by the audacity. "Me, ma'am, stop. That's my cart." "Karen, it's the store's cart. I'm a customer. I'm using it now." She picked up speed. I followed her, not sure what to do. I didn't want to cause a scene, but I also wasn't about to let her walk off with all my groceries. "Me, I'm asking you one more time. Please give me back my cart." "Karen, or what? You'll call the manager? Go ahead. I'll tell them you were harassing me." She turned down another aisle, moving fast. A few other shoppers were watching now, looking confused. I pulled out my phone. "Me, okay?" "Karen, okay what?" "Me, I have a tracking tag in that cart." She stopped walking. "Karen, what?" I held up my phone, showing her the screen. The app was open, showing the location of my tag, a little blue dot, right where she was standing. "Me, it's clipped to my bag. See that green reusable bag in the seat area? There's a tracker inside. I can see exactly where this cart goes." "Karen, that's illegal." "Me, it's my bag and my tracker. Nothing illegal about it." "Karen, you're stalking me." "Me, I'm tracking my own groceries that you just stole from me." By now a small crowd had gathered. Someone behind me was recording on their phone. I didn't realize it at the time, but that video would end up being very important. A store employee finally showed up. A young guy who looked like he really didn't want to deal with this. "Employee, is there a problem here?" "Karen, this man is stalking me. He put a tracking device in my cart." "Me, she took my cart with all my groceries in it. I have a tracker in my own bag to prevent exactly this kind of thing." Employee, "Ma'am, is this your cart?" "Karen, it is now." Employee, "That's not how it works." Karen looked around at all the people watching. Her face was getting red. She could see the phone recording her. "Karen, fine, take your stupid cart. It's probably full of processed garbage anyway." She shoved the cart toward me and stormed off. Didn't even look back. I thanked the employee and finished my shopping. Didn't think much more about it until that night when my phone started blowing up. The person who recorded the incident had posted it online. Within 24 hours, it had over 2 million views. Within a week, it was everywhere. News sites picked it up. People were making memes. Someone even auto-tuned her saying, "I need it more" into a song. I never showed my face in the video, so nobody knew it was me. But I watched the comments roll in. Thousands of people calling her out. Thousands more saying they were going to start putting trackers in their carts too. My wife doesn't think I'm paranoid anymore. Story 2. I've been a server at this family restaurant for about 4 years now. It's one of those places that's been around forever, the kind with checkered tablecloths and pictures of the owner's grandparents on the walls. We serve everything from burgers to pasta to the best meatloaf in the county, or so our regulars claim. It's not fancy, but it's comfortable. People come here for birthday dinners and anniversary celebrations and Sunday lunches after church. Families have been eating here for generations. That's the key word. Families. We're a family restaurant. We have high chairs stacked by the entrance. We have a kids' menu with crayons and activity placemats. We have a jar of lollipops by the register for the little ones. Children are not just welcome here, they're expected. That's who we are. Most people understand this. If you want a quiet, adult-only dining experience, there are plenty of upscale places across town that cater to that. But if you come to our restaurant, you're going to see kids. You're going to hear kids. That's just reality. Apparently, nobody explained this to the woman who came in on a Tuesday evening. I noticed her the moment she walked in. She was probably in her late 40s, dressed in a way that seemed a little too formal for our casual atmosphere. She requested a table in the middle of the dining room, which I thought was odd since most people who want quiet ask for a corner. But I seated her where she wanted and handed her a menu. About 10 minutes later, a young mother came in with a baby who couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 months old. The mom looked exhausted in that way new parents always do, but she was smiling. She asked for a table near the window, and I set her up with a high chair and a kid's menu, even though the baby was too young to use it. The baby was adorable. Chubby cheeks, wispy hair, big eyes that looked around at everything with curiosity. And yes, the baby made noise. Babies do that. Little babbling sounds, a few squeals of excitement when the mom dangled keys in front of him, some banging on the high chair tray. Nothing unusual, nothing disruptive. Just normal baby behavior. The woman in the middle of the dining room apparently disagreed. I was refilling waters at a nearby table when I heard her voice cut through the ambient noise. "Karen, excuse me." Excuse me. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the young mother. The mom looked up, confused. "Mom, I'm sorry, were you speaking to me?" Karen, "Yes, I was. Your baby is ruining my eating aura." The mom blinked. So did I. So did pretty much everyone within earshot. "Mom, I'm sorry, my what?" Karen, "My eating aura. The energy I need to properly digest my food. That child's noise is disrupting my entire experience." "Mom, he's just babbling. He's a baby. That's what they do." Karen, "Well, can't you make him stop? Some of us are trying to enjoy a civilized meal." "Mom, I'm not sure what you want me to do. I can't exactly explain to a 9-month-old that he needs to be quiet." Karen, "Then perhaps you shouldn't bring him to restaurants until he learns some manners." The mom's face went red, not from embarrassment, but from the effort of holding back what she probably wanted to say. I could see her taking a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Mom, ma'am, this is a family restaurant. There are kids here all the time." Karen, "That doesn't mean I should have to suffer through your child screeching while I'm trying to eat. This is supposed to be a relaxing experience." The baby, as if on cue, let out a happy squeal and banged his tiny hands on the tray. He was smiling. He was having the time of his life. He had no idea he was apparently destroying someone's aura. Karen, "See? That right there. It's unbearable." At this point, I knew I needed to step in. I walked over to her table. "Ma'am, is there something I can help you with?" Karen, "Yes, you can move that woman and her screaming child to another section. Preferably far away from me." "Ma'am, the baby isn't screaming. He's just making normal baby sounds. This is a family restaurant, and we welcome children of all ages. Karen: well, I'm a paying customer, and I demand a peaceful dining experience. Me: I understand, but I can't ask another guest to move because their baby is being a baby. Karen: then I want to speak to your manager. I nodded and went to get my manager. She's a woman in her 50s who's been running this place for over 20 years. She doesn't tolerate nonsense, but she's always professional about it. My manager walked over to the table with that calm, measured expression she uses when she's about to handle a difficult situation. Manager: good evening. I understand there's a concern. Karen: yes. That baby over there is completely ruining my meal. I need you to move them or ask them to leave. Manager: ma'am, this is a family establishment. We don't ask families to leave because their children are behaving like children. Karen: this is outrageous. I've never been treated this way. I'll leave a terrible review. Manager: that's your right, ma'am, but our policy remains the same. What happened next is something I'll never forget. The couple at the table directly next to her stood up. The husband raised his hand to get my attention. Husband: excuse me, could we move to a different table? We'd like to sit somewhere else. Me: of course. Any preference? He looked directly at the woman. Husband: anywhere away from here is fine. I moved them to a table on the other side of the room. As I was getting them settled, another table flagged me down. A family of 4. Father: hey, can we also move? We'd rather not sit near that kind of negativity. I moved them too. Then another table asked, then another. Within 5 minutes, every single table in her immediate vicinity had requested to move. The family with the baby stayed right where they were. The woman was left sitting completely alone in the middle of a ring of empty tables, like she had some kind of force field around her. Her face went through several shades of red and purple. She looked around at all the empty chairs, then at all the people who had deliberately moved away from her, then back at her plate. She didn't say anything. She just sat there, alone, pushing her food around with her fork. The young mom caught my eye from across the room. She looked like she was about to cry, but in a good way. I gave her a small nod. About 10 minutes later, my manager walked over to the mom's table with a small dish in her hand. Manager: this is for your little one. On the house. It was a tiny cup of vanilla ice cream with a single candle stuck in it. The baby's eyes went wide at the sight of the flame. The mom laughed and blew it out for him, then let him taste a tiny spoonful of the ice cream. His face lit up like it was the greatest thing he'd ever experienced. The tables around them, all the people who had moved, started clapping. Not loud or obnoxious, just a warm, supportive applause for a mom who had handled an awful situation with grace. The woman in the middle of the empty section asked for her check. She paid in cash, left no tip, and walked out without making eye contact with anyone. The moment the door closed behind her, the energy in the room shifted. People went back to their meals, conversations resumed, and the baby continued to babble happily, completely unaware that he had just become the hero of the evening. The mom stayed for another hour. Other diners stopped by her table to say kind words, to compliment her patience, to make faces at the baby and make him laugh. When she finally left, she stopped by the host's stand where I was organizing menus. Mom, thank you for everything. Me: you don't have to thank me. You didn't do anything wrong. Mom: I know, but it still means a lot. She walked out into the evening, baby on her hip, and I watched her car pull away. Some people think the world revolves around them. They think their comfort matters more than everyone else's existence. But every once in a while, the world reminds them that it doesn't. And sometimes, that reminder comes in the form of a 9-month-old with ice cream on his face and a whole restaurant on his side. Story 3. I've been a stay-at-home dad for about 3 years now. Before that, I worked in accounting at a mid-sized firm downtown. It was fine work, stable and predictable. But when my wife got promoted to a position that required travel, we sat down and did the math. Daycare for 2 kids was going to cost almost as much as I was bringing home. It made more sense for me to stay home. Best decision I ever made. My kids are 5 and 7 now. My daughter is the older one, sharp as a tack and bossy in the way firstborns often are. My son is the younger, quieter but observant. He notices everything. Between the two of them, they keep me on my toes. I've learned more about patience, creativity, and problem solving in 3 years of parenting than I did in a decade of corporate work. We have our routines. Monday is grocery day. Tuesday is library day. Wednesday is park day. Thursday is errands, whatever needs doing. Friday is pizza night, which means a trip to the little shop on Main Street that makes the best pepperoni slices in town. This story takes place on a Thursday. We needed to pick up a few things from the big department store across town. School supplies mostly. My daughter had a project coming up that required poster board and markers, and my son needed new sneakers because he'd somehow worn through his old ones in record time. The store was busier than usual. Some kind of seasonal sale had brought out crowds, and the checkout lines snaked back into the aisles. We grabbed what we needed and got in line behind a woman with a cart full of home goods and a couple of other families with kids around my children's ages. It was going to be a wait. I told my kids we'd get ice cream after if they were patient. They agreed to the terms. We'd been standing there for maybe 5 minutes when she appeared. She came from somewhere near the electronics section, walking with the kind of speed that suggested the building was on fire. No cart, no basket, just a single blouse draped over her arm. She was probably in her early 50s, wearing oversized sunglasses pushed up on her head and an expression that screamed, "My time is more valuable than yours." She walked straight past the line, past the families, past the carts and the kids and the patient people who had been waiting their turn. She stopped right at the front, next to the register, and stood there like she belonged. "Customer at front, excuse me, there's a line." "Karen, I know, but I'm in a rush. I only have one item." "Customer at front, we're all in a rush. The line starts back there." "Karen, I don't have time for this. I have an appointment." She didn't move. The cashier, a young woman who looked like she was still in high school, seemed unsure what to do. "Cashier, ma'am, I can help you after I finish with this customer and the others in line." "Karen, that's ridiculous. I have one item. It'll take 10 seconds. Just scan it and let me go." The cashier looked at the line of people, then back at the woman. "Cashier, I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be fair to the other customers." "Karen, fair? Do you know how much money I spend in this store? I practically keep this place in business." I was standing about 5 people back, close enough to hear everything. My kids were watching the whole thing with wide eyes. My daughter tugged on my sleeve. "Daughter, Dad, that lady cut in line." "Me, I know, sweetheart. Sometimes people do that." "Daughter, that's not fair." "Me, no, it's not." My son was watching too, but he wasn't looking at the woman. He was looking at the space around her. Then he looked at the strollers. There were 2 of them in line. One belonged to a mom a few spots ahead of us, and another belonged to a dad who was right behind the woman who had cut. Both strollers were the big kind, the ones that could practically double as small vehicles. My son leaned over to the kids near the strollers. I couldn't hear what he whispered, but I saw the other kids nod. Then they started moving. It was subtle at first. The kid near the front stroller tugged on his mom's sleeve and pointed at something on a shelf to the left. The mom shifted the stroller slightly as she leaned over to look. The stroller rolled forward, closing the gap between it and the register. At the same time, the kid near the back stroller asked his dad something and pointed to the right. The dad turned, and as he did, his stroller drifted forward, cutting off the path behind the woman. She didn't notice at first. She was too busy arguing with the cashier. "Karen, this is absurd. I want to speak to your manager." "Cashier, she's on break. She'll be back in about 15 minutes. "Karen, 15 minutes. I can't wait 15 minutes." She turned to leave, probably to find someone else to complain to. That's when she realized she was boxed in. The stroller in front of her was pressed close to the register counter. The stroller behind her was blocking the aisle. On one side was a display of chip bags. On the other was a rack of magazines. There was no way out. "Karen, excuse me. Move your stroller." The dad behind her looked at her with the most innocent expression I've ever seen. "Dad, oh, sorry. My son wanted to look at something. Just give me a second." He made absolutely no effort to move. "Karen, I need to get through. Now." Mom with front stroller. "Sorry, my daughter dropped her pacifier. Just a moment." She crouched down slowly, taking her time, pretending to search for something on the floor. The woman's face was turning red. She looked left. Chip display. She looked right. Magazine rack. She looked forward. Stroller. She looked back. Another stroller. "Karen, this is unacceptable. You're trapping me." The kids in line were watching now. All of them. They had these little smiles on their faces, the kind kids get when they know they're getting away with something. My daughter looked up at me. "Daughter, Dad, I think she's stuck." "Me, looks like it." My son was standing there with his arms crossed, looking very pleased with himself. The woman tried to push past the stroller behind her. "Karen, move. Let me through." "Dad, ma'am, you're welcome to go around. The back of the line is that way." He pointed toward the end of the line, which had grown even longer while all this was happening. "Karen, I'm not going to the back. I was here first." "Customer in line." "No, you weren't. You cut in front of all of us." "Another customer." "Yeah, we've been waiting for 10 minutes." "Third customer." "My kids have been standing here patiently. Maybe you should try it." She was surrounded, not just by strollers, but by the collective judgment of every single person in line. Parents, kids, even a couple of elderly shoppers who had been watching the whole thing unfold. For a long moment, she just stood there, breathing heavily, looking for an escape that didn't exist. Then the mom with the front stroller straightened up. "Mom, found the pacifier. We can move now." She rolled the stroller to the side, creating a narrow gap. But the gap didn't lead to the register. It led to the back of the line. The woman looked at the opening. She looked at the register. She looked at all the faces staring at her. "Karen, this is harassment. I'm reporting all of you." Nobody responded. Nobody moved. They just waited. She grabbed her blouse and stomped through the gap, pushing past the strollers and marching to the back of the line. Her heels clicked angrily against the floor with every step. A few people started clapping. Not loud, just a smattering of applause. The kids were giggling. My son was grinning ear to ear. "Me, that was you, wasn't it?" "Son, maybe." "Daughter, it was definitely him. He told the other kids what to do." "Me, that was very clever." "Son, she wasn't being fair." "Me, no, she wasn't." We waited our turn like everyone else. When we got to the register, the cashier gave my kids each a sticker from behind the counter. "Cashier, for being so patient." They wore those stickers all day. We got ice cream afterward, as promised. My son got chocolate. My daughter got strawberry. I got coffee flavored because I'm an adult and I can. On the drive home, my daughter asked me why that lady thought she was more important than everyone else. Me, some people think the rules don't apply to them. They think their time matters more than other people's time. Daughter, that's dumb. Me, yeah, it is. Son, next time she'll probably wait in line. Me, maybe? Or maybe she'll try cutting again somewhere else. Son, then someone else will have to trap her. I laughed the whole way home. Story 4. I've been working in hotels for about 9 years now. Started as a housekeeper at a budget motel near the highway, worked my way up to front desk, then night audit, and now I'm the assistant manager at a pretty nice boutique hotel downtown. It's not a huge place, only about 60 rooms, but we get a good mix of business travelers and tourists and people in town for special occasions. I've dealt with just about every type of guest you can imagine. Complainers are part of the job. That's just reality. The mattress is too firm, the air conditioning is too loud, the walls are too thin. Most of the time, these are legitimate concerns, and we do our best to fix them. Give them a different room, offer a discount, throw in a free breakfast. Customer service is about making people feel heard and finding solutions. But sometimes you get someone who isn't looking for a solution. They're looking for something free. Last month, a woman checked in on a Friday night. She booked one of our nicer rooms, a corner suite with a king bed and a view of the city. $320 a night, which is pretty standard for that room on a weekend. She paid up front, signed all the paperwork, took her key cards, and headed up. About 2 hours later, she came back down to the front desk. I was covering for one of my staff who was on break. "Karen, I need to speak to a manager." "Me, I'm the assistant manager. How can I help you?" "Karen, my room is haunted." "Me, I'm sorry?" "Karen, haunted. There are spirits in that room. I felt a presence the moment I walked in. The energy is completely off." "Me, I'm not sure I understand. Is there a specific problem with the room? Temperature, noise, cleanliness?" "Karen, the problem is that it's haunted. I'm very sensitive to these things. I can feel energy that other people can't. And that room has something dark in it." "Me, I see. Would you like us to move you to a different room?" "Karen, no. I want a full refund and a free night in a different room. For my trouble." "Me, a refund and a free night." "Karen, yes. I've been traumatized. I shouldn't have to pay for a room that gave me nightmares. I couldn't even sleep. I was too scared." I looked at the clock. She had checked in at 7, and it was now barely past 9. Not much time for nightmares. "Me, ma'am, I can certainly move you to another room if you're uncomfortable. But I'm not able to offer a refund for a room that doesn't have any actual defects." "Karen, no actual defects. There's a ghost in there. That's a pretty big defect." "Me, our rooms are inspected regularly. I can assure you there are no structural or maintenance issues." "Karen, I'm not talking about maintenance. I'm talking about the supernatural. Do you not understand what I'm saying? That room is spiritually compromised." She was getting louder. A couple checking in at the other end of the desk was starting to stare. "Karen, I demand to speak to the general manager. Right now." "Me, she's not on property tonight, but I can call her if you'd like." "Karen, do it. I'll wait." I excused myself and called my boss. Explained the situation as professionally as I could. She listened, sighed, and told me she'd be there in 20 minutes. She lives close by. When the general manager arrived, Karen launched into her story again. The presence, the dark energy, the trauma, the demand for a refund plus a free night. My boss listened patiently. Then she smiled. "Manager, ma'am, do you remember the registration form you signed at check-in?" "Karen, what about it?" "Manager, I'd like to show you something." She walked behind the desk and pulled up the digital copy of the signed agreement on the computer. She turned the monitor so Karen could see it. "Manager, right here, Section 4, Paragraph 2. All guests acknowledge that room comfort is subjective and that refunds will not be issued for complaints related to personal feelings, perceived atmosphere, spiritual discomfort, or other non-verifiable concerns. You signed this document." Karen stared at the screen. "Karen, that's ridiculous. Nobody reads those things." "Manager, whether you read it or not, you agreed to it. It's legally binding." "Karen, you can't put something like that in a contract." "Manager, we can and we did. After someone tried to get a free stay by claiming their room had bad feng shui, our lawyers added that clause. It's been in there for 3 years. "Karen, this is fraud." "Manager, no ma'am. This is policy. I'm happy to move you to a different room at no additional charge. But there will be no refund and no complimentary stay." Karen looked at me. She looked at my boss. She looked at the screen showing her own signature on the document. "Karen, I'm leaving a review. Manager, that's your right. Karen, a terrible review. 1 star. I'm telling everyone about this place. Manager, I understand. Would you like help with your luggage? She didn't answer. She turned around and marched toward the elevator. 20 minutes later, she came back down with her suitcase and headed straight for the exit without looking at either of us. She did leave a review. 1 star, just like she promised. She wrote 3 paragraphs about how our hotel was haunted and management refused to take her concerns seriously. My boss responded publicly. Very professional. Simply stated that we offered to move her to a different room and that our refund policy is clearly outlined in our guest agreement. That review has been up for a month now. It's gotten dozens of replies from other guests defending our hotel. A few people even said they specifically booked with us because they wanted to stay in a haunted room. We've had our best month of bookings all year.